Okay, let's talk MIDI. Now remember, MIDI is nothing more than a language that tells a synth to make sounds, or a sound source of some ilk. And we talked about there were several commands: note on, note off, change sounds, those kinds of things. So what happens in a regular keyboard, this is actually two different boxes. One is the controller part that says play middle C. That was kind of soft. Play middle C really loud. Okay? Stop playing middle C. And inside the innards, yeah, not very impressive, is a sound generator box. And in this case, an amplifier and speakers and all that kind of stuff. So that's all built in. And then there are ways to change what sounds. And basically, there's a way to say, okay, change sounds to harpsichord, change sounds to vibraphone, etc., etc. So here I have an old style rig where it's separated. This is a MIDI controller. It makes no sound in and of itself. You can tell on the back there, if I can pull it out here, there's no output to the speakers. That's actually for a foot pedal. This is a MIDI cable and power. So when I play, you can tell on the blinky lights. So when I push the note, you see the light that indicates a MIDI command has been received. When I let go, you see another one. So note on, note off. And then you have various other commands. I mentioned continuous control. So when I do that, you can see other commands going off. So basically what we have here, this is the controller that's sending out MIDI data. Play this note, play that note, play these three notes. This is actually the thing making the sound generator, called the sound engine, or this is by a company called EMU. This thing dates to the 90s, so it sounds pretty cheesy. And then I have a computer involved here, an old style Mac, again from the 90s. So, and then, high quality computer speakers there. So what happens right now is I hit a note, messages go out the MIDI cable into here and says, okay, play this note, play that note, play the other note, and it makes the sound. And then audio goes out actually through the headphone jack into the computer speakers, and so you hear it. So that's basically how MIDI works. Now the computer, again, this is old style, can memorize what you played. In this case, this is a program called Band in a Box, and if I hit play, or replay in this case, what's happening is the program has calculated a bunch of MIDI data, a bass, a piano, a drums sounds, and it's sending commands to the box on different MIDI channels. We'll talk about those, to play, using these sounds, play using these sounds, play these using these sounds. And in this particular case, you can watch the screen. Oop, wrong button. And it'll give you an idea using the different colors what notes are being played. There's your bass, there's your piano. Okay. So what's the advantage? Well, for this program, not much, because it's a program called Band in a Box. But the sequencer, and this is what Studio One does, can memorize what I play here, and it shows up there in a particular view, and then I can modify it, I can change it, I can change start notes, I can do all sorts of editing. Think of it in terms, it's like a word processor for music. So that's kind of an old style view of how MIDI works. Now, it used to be you would have a MIDI interface. This one's seriously old style. There's your computer connections, and then this is what the standard MIDI jacks look like. And you get cables that go in there, and you'll notice we've got out, in, and through. Now, ignore the out through bit. That's a special thing that this particular one did. Has to do with a button over here. In, MIDI data is going into the thing. Out, it's going out of the thing, out to here. So in this case, we're going out the controller into the box. And then there's actually MIDI data coming from the computer into this. So MIDI data's got ins and outs just like audio does, just like electricity does. Modern day, they use USB connection, standard USB connection, and then software says, send it out rather than using the old style MIDI ports. So these are still useful, especially if you have older keyboards. So there you go. That's MIDI in a nutshell.